Hey guys, how are we doing? So, bit of an experimental test stream today, unadvertised. Wanted to make sure that the streaming worked before we do our regular streams during the year, which is something a bit exciting. So yeah, so we thought I've been painting up Horus over January, and I thought we'd get some colours down on him. So far yesterday, I've managed to get the base together. Really happy with how that turned out. So. Airbrushed on the base colours, load of washes, load of dry brushing. Looks fine. So yeah, pretty happy with that. So today we are going to have a look at the big man himself, Horus the Warmaster. Apologies if he's not focusing, he's very glossy. Essentially we've primed him. We have done Abaddon black, we've done kind of a Zenithal Corax black, is it? The kind of grey black colour. And then I've used the new gloss airbrush paint, Death Shroud black, to give it a bit of a gloss colour. Hi Craig, how are we doing? Hopefully this looks alright for you. Any video or audio issues, give me a shout. Like I say, this is more of a test stream to make sure everything's working before we do these properly. So yeah, today's plan is to get some gold on him. Obviously there's a lot of gold trim, so yeah, that's going to be the real kind of job today. So we're going to start with Retributor Gold, thin it down a bit, and we'll put this on all of those trim areas. It's going to be a fun old job getting this trim down, so we'll see how we get on. I'll probably be streaming for an hour or two maybe. We'll see how we go, see how the stream holds up. Awesome. Scrubbing the house seems infinitely less fun than painting, Craig, so hopefully this keeps you entertained a little bit. So let's get this going. So yeah, hopefully when we do these properly, and I'm hoping to have all the equipment next week. I need another camera because yeah, my other one's currently being used on me work computer because, you know, working from home is a pain. So let's have a start on this guy. So we have got a lot of gold trim to paint. I think we'll start edging him up here. So has everyone managed to get some hobby and painting done in the new year? What's everybody's 2021 plans? Oh, a hot date with a Necron Overlord. Yeah, that sounds cool. I've got a load of Necrons left to paint myself from all the Indomitus stuff. I think I burnt myself out on Necrons in the summer, getting 2 lots of Indomitus painted, one of which was in like a week, ready for the Indomitus release. So yeah, I think I may have burnt myself out a little bit on the old Necrons, but yeah, they are fun to paint. I've got the Silent King to do as well. Really looking forward to doing him. And I want to pick up the Void Dragon because it's a really, really nice model. But yeah, focus at the minute is Horus Heresy. So obviously at the minute we're in lockdown and we can't play any games. But one of the things that we do want to do when we get into the new year is yeah, play some games of Heresy when we can. It's been a while since we played a game. So Craig just got the Chaos Space Marine Battle Force and the Necron one. This year's all about the Word Bearers and the Zerakan Dynasty. Excellent. Yeah, you've got to pick up the Silent King then, dude. It's an awesome looking model. And yeah, Word Bearers. I know Dave's doing a World Eater Force using the Chaos Space Marines, and he's going to have it dual purpose for 40k and 30k. So yeah, depending on how you build them, that's always an option too. Andy, good to see you in here as well. What are you working on, Woods? But yeah, hopefully this is the thing that we plan to do going forward. I've been meaning to do some more kind of stream content for a long time, and yeah, bar the initial setup, hopefully this should be fairly easy to do going forward. We'll even get Jay and Dave in these as well. Ooh, magnetising the bases of your corn, Andy. Excellent. Is this an AOS army or a 40k corn, Andy? Because either way, I need to have a game against them. And if it is AOS, you need to get the big dragon. Because I know you enjoy playing against that. Man, there's a lot of gold trim on this. I don't know if you can see that very well there. But, yeah. This is going to take a long old time. But it's a gorgeous model. And I've been really looking forward to getting some paint down on this. Mostly demons, but some AOS mortals. Excellent. Well, we're going to have a Slanesh versus Khorne game when the new Khorne stuff comes out, Andy. I think that'd be a bit of fun. Obviously, when we can. So yeah, I'm kind of not set on a time period to do these. Obviously, this is a random Sunday at lunchtime. I do know for some of the US guys, this probably isn't an ideal time for you. Obviously, problem with a weekday evening kind of clashes with Warhammer TV as well, so I don't really want to do that. But yeah, if you guys have got any idea of when you'd like to see a stream, you know, does a weekend stream work for you guys, or you know, early morning on a Sunday was another option. Open to all suggestions if you've got any. Just want to entertain as many people as we can really on these. But yeah, really looking forward to getting some games in with the Sons of Horus. Problem is painting Heresy is that I already want to start another like 3 Heresy armies. It's kind of addictive. I'd love to see a new starter box at some point. You know, maybe focus on the Siege of Terror or something. I think that'd be really, really fun. It's something we're actually talking about on the podcast next week of what we'd like to see coming in 2021. And yeah, a Heresy starter box is pretty high on my list of things that I'd like to see. Because, yeah, I think we've been crying out for one for ages. The previous Heresy boxes they did were really good value, and it's a shame you can't get them anymore because they were a great way of getting into the game. So seeing something new, yeah, like set during the Siege of Terror, big hardback rule book, and maybe some plastic assault marines. I think it'd be a really nice way of getting into the game. Obviously, we don't know any secrets here. It's 5 a.m. in New Mexico. Hi, Mark. How are you doing? Yeah, that is one of the things that I have been a bit concerned about. If we do an early stream, people over the pond are going to struggle to see us. So, I mean, another option maybe is a Saturday evening stream or a Sunday evening stream. I ideally don't want to clash with Warhammer TV either. But, of course, we could do something that follows them. So, you know, that wouldn't be too bad. And then you guys over the sea could then watch the stream. We'll have a play. We'll have a play around because thank God I have insomnia. Well, hopefully we're keeping you entertained this morning. Yeah, I don't think I'd be out of bed at 5 a.m. on a Sunday myself. So we're slowly getting here. A lot of trim to do on this guy. Once we've done all this with the Retributor armour, we'll probably go back in with Agrax to shade it and then we'll probably edge it with Stormhost. But obviously a long way off that yet. I'll have to sort out this camera. I think because he's quite glossy, the camera's struggling focusing on him. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on that in the future streams. Hopefully I'll have my sidekicks in the form of Jay and Dave in future ones too, so we can just have somebody manning the studio while the other two are painting. But yeah, good to have a few of you watching. It's nice encouragement for getting some paint on models, and hopefully don't make a pig's ear of this while I'm doing it. Right, well that's that shoulder pad pretty much done. Let's do the edge of here. I've been waiting on some new brushes. Druki Violet over Gold is my go-to at the moment. Yeah, it does look really good. I think Jay's done that on his Custodes. Adds a nice bit of kind of depth to the gold. Retributor on Horus, just because I've done that on the other guys, on Abaddon and the Justicar Guard. Makes it look a bit worn and dirty because we've gone for quite a muddy, dusty colour scheme on the bases on the kind of armour. If I just grab one of those guys and show you what that looks like. So, that, to give you an idea of what it should look like eventually, if we take Abaddon out of here, the kind of scheme that we're going for. So gloss black, gold edges, and then yeah, we've washed down with Agrax and then given it a little bit of a highlight in Stormhost. Really happy with how he turned out, so hoping Horus ends up looking the same. It's it's always hard to judge at the start, isn't it? Until you've got some more colours down. Some of these models are the ones that kind of all come together when you've got the final colours down, but until then it's brown trousers time when you're trying to work out if you've ruined a model or not. Thing is though, you know, even if things do go off track when you're painting, you can always repair it. You can always go back in and you know, amend some of the colours, or worst case even strip it. I think the worst thing you can do is be scared of painting a model for fear of messing it up, because yeah, if that's the case, you're never going to get anything painted then. So I'd much rather try and get some paints on, and if it goes wrong, it goes wrong. It's a learning experience. But yeah, so we've got that shoulder pad pretty much done. A couple of details I just need to tidy up, and that'll be fixed with the washers and stuff. So let's jump over to the other shoulder pad and do the same there. Now we have got this big wolf on his back, and that flows down to his cape. Not sure how we're going to do that yet. I think what we'll probably do is rebase that in a non-glossy back. I've tried to avoid that when I've glossed it up, but there's a little bit of gloss on him, so he just needs mixing up a little bit. And then we'll probably try and do some controlled dry brushing. Have I tried Scale 75 golds? No, I haven't tried any Scale 75 paints. I've had a lot of recommendations to use them though. And apparently they do go quite nicely through an airbrush as well. So yeah, they're definitely on my list of paints to try. I think they do some really nice metallic ranges. At the minute, pretty much just use Citadel paints. For the simple reason is that, you know, I can walk down to my local Games Workshop and pick them up. So for me, that's nice and easy to get hold of them. I'd rather not have to order them online. Ironically, at the minute, I can't walk down to local Games Workshop and get anything though because of current COVID restrictions. So yeah, it might be worth trying some other paint ranges. But yeah, I have heard really good things about Scale 75. If anybody has got any examples of stuff painted with them, hit them up on our Twitter because I'd love to see them. I think they've got quite a satin finish compared to some other paint ranges. So yeah, it'd be interesting having a play with them. Always open to using other paints. It's just a case of I'm lazy and I can pick up Citadel paints in crew. So it's always a plus rather than having to order them. Mr. Jennings is in the chat. How are we doing, Dave? How's everything look on your end on this this test stream that we're putting together? See, if Dave was a true believer to the course, he'd be slaving away, streaming as well. And now he's ignoring me. That's shocking, Dave. Shocking behaviour. Hopefully we'll have Dave and Jay on the next one. Due to the magic of the internet, we should be able to have a nice painting session with all of us. Dave was stupidly sitting on Twitch. That is pro move considering the links were for YouTube, dude. How are we doing? Have you got your painting done today, Dave? If you've listened to this week's podcast, you know that Dave is trying to paint a unit or a character every week, and if he doesn't, he has to do twice as much the following week, and then presumably if he fails that, he has to do 3 times as much the week after that. So I believe Dave has almost finished painting his orc, the one that came out on Boxing Day. Once he's done the base on him, so looking forward to seeing that because it looks really good, and I think Dave should start an orc army. Craig says Citadel gets an unnecessarily bad reputation. The great paints now use them more than others. Yeah, I rate Citadel paints, especially with the new range they put out. The air paints. I might have to do a video covering the air paints because there's not been a lot in the way of videos covering them. But I've had no issues with the air paints at all. They go straight out of the... I normally use a drop of... where are I? A drop of Vallejo Flow Improver, and then just put in what you need with a brush. You know, a lot of people have said that it hasn't got a dropper bottle, so you know, it's difficult to control. Just pour it or use a brush to put it into the cup. Yeah, there's a little bit of wastage compared to a dropper bottle, but not massively so, and I think it has been exaggerated a lot by some people in the community how much waste there is on the air paints, but quality wise it's great, and the key thing is they colour match the main Citadel range, so you can do your airbrush colours and go back in with the standard Citadel paints, which is really good. Mark says that's a fantastic model, Forge World. Yeah, so if anyone can pop a link in the chat, this is Horus the Warmaster for the Horus Heresy range from Forge World. Really, really nice model. I've been looking forward to painting it for ages, and it was actually very kindly gifted to me from co-hosts Jay and Dave for Christmas and birthday. So, yeah, thoroughly spoilt there. But it has got an awful lot of gold trim. So, is a Sprues and Brews Discord on the horizon? Great for sharing work with each other. So, yeah, I've not really looked into Discord too much. So we've got Twitter, we've got Instagram and stuff, but I do get that Discord is a lot more interactive, isn't it? It's more like a forum. So if that's something you guys would like to see, then I'm sure we could arrange something. Yeah, we want to kind of push the interaction this year, hence the live stream, and yeah, I think 2020, even though it's been a complete write-off, it's been a pretty good year for the site. So we want to kind of build on that 2021 and kind of do more of this kind of stuff, interactive stuff. If you guys enjoy it, I know at the minute this is me just rambling while painting gold trim, but hopefully, yeah, as we grow the community and get more people on it, then yeah, it should be a bit of fun. Okay, so now we're getting to the really fiddly bit. painting all the detail on his chest. So, now I always find if you do slip up during these steps, it is easy enough to go back and tidy up details. A little bit less so maybe on this because I've obviously airbrushed the gloss, but it shouldn't be too hard to go back, add in the blacks, and then just put on the gloss again by brush. And you know, it's any small mistakes can be easily hidden, and washes do a wonder as well of hiding anything. I can normally churn out an army pretty quickly, and I'm not too bothered about making everything, you know, golden demon standard. And you know, I want them to look good, but I'm not too fussed about spending, you know, months on a model. I'd rather get an army painted, because let's face it, when you're playing games with these, the, you know, metre away from you on the table, you're not necessarily going to see that small paintbrush slip. Props to people who, you know, go all out and take the time painting it. That's definitely an impressive skill. But yeah, that's something I'd like to work on this year. Kind of pushing painting skills and doing some fancy stuff. Dave's looking forward to seeing how Horus does on the tabletop. Tabletop? Yeah, me too. Hopefully he punches some people in the face. He's pretty nasty. As far as Primarchs go, he has a rule where essentially hamstrings them with his claw. So if he wounds but doesn't kill another Primarch, I think it's another target, their weapon skill gets reduced, making it harder for them to fight. It should be a bit of fun. Andy has faith he will do well. Yeah, so this is a bit of an in-joke if you guys haven't come across this before on the podcast. So, year before last, I want to say, guys, Dave and Andy entered the Throne of Skulls doubles in a team, and yeah, the punchline for the weekend was pretty much Andy saying he had faith. You were really unlucky with some of your matchups, weren't you? I believe you had some rather fun. I had nothing daughters of Cain lists you were fighting against, which yeah, it was a bit hard going. But you had faith. You had faith that you'd win, and you certainly gave it your best. And by all accounts, I think you had a great weekend. Obviously, we can't at the minute, but I would highly recommend playing the kind of Throne of Skulls tournaments. They're really nice, kind of more in the spirit of the game rather than being super competitive and over the top. I'd rather have fun, memorable games of Warhammer rather than kind of all out when it all costs tournament play. And that's not to say there's not a place for that. It's just what I prefer. Some nice painted models and roll some dice and have a few laughs. Now, maybe I'm biased because I managed to come third in one with a ridiculous dragon list. Frostlord and Stonehorn versus 20 Witch Elves. Stonehorn went first and killed 3 Witch Elves and died. Yeah. You didn't have much luck there, did you, Andy? And ever since, having faith has always been the byword for... Actually, we're going to get battered here. I think next time we do an event, I think it should be me and Andy and Jay and Dave. Speaking of which, Mr. Stanya appears in the chat. Faith is what caused the heresy in the first place. This is absolutely true. So Jay, you have been doing some painting as well. I believe you've got your Tau Supremacy suit out on the painting table. I'm hoping that you're getting some paint on it right now. Because that is an absolutely gorgeous looking model. Right, so it looks like we've got some fiddly trim here just under the breastplate, so I'm going to try and edge all this. And just... like I say, a lot of the slips and mistakes we can go back and fix up, and the wash will hide a lot of this as well. What I would advise, if you're doing kind of sharp edges like this, use the edge of your brush rather than the tip. Just makes it a little bit easier to snag that detail. Yeah, he is here being painted. Excellent. So we're expecting a Tau army by the end of the week then, Jay. In fact, Jay, we should call you... You've been kind of following Dave's normal painting model for the year. We'll skip from project to project. You've had all sorts on your table. Luminous. I think there was talk of the 3 Hunters being painted last night. Variety is the spice of life and all that. Have you painted your Imperial Fists yet? Because, you know, Horus does need to go up against Dawn. He absolutely does. What's everyone else in the chat up to today? Any painting plans? Is anyone lucky enough to be able to play any games? Jay says, this one's taken me about 5 years so far, so don't count on it. Yeah, you know, you'll get there. Maybe you'll finish that at the same time you finish The Witcher 3. It is funny, those kind of projects that hang around for ages. I've got a few on my shelves behind me here that have been primed and ready to go for a long time, but unfortunately I've never got around to finishing. And you know, there's the old joke of, like, you know, making sure you paint all your miniatures before you get new ones. That ain't gonna happen, is it? Let's face it. I've got a load of Slanesh stuff here, and you know that I'm going to get a load of the new Slanesh stuff in February when it comes out, before I even get to painting those. Kind of torn on the Slanesh stuff, because I don't want to commit to painting these things quite yet, until I know kind of what's in the new book. Aesthetically, I love all the new Mortal stuff, so I'll be painting that regardless. But from a kind of like competitive point of view, obviously we don't know what's good yet. We don't know how the summoning mechanics work. So yeah, I'm really interested to see what's in the new book, because yeah, I love me some Slanesh. My favourite model's going to be the new one they showed off in the preview the other day, though, the big fella in the palanquin. Love to see the kind of like gluttony side of excess being shown. So Andy says 2020 was really good for not buying stuff before painting the stuff I have. Oh, cool. So you managed to clear some of your backlog then, Andy. That is impressive. Unfortunately, that's something that I always tend to fail at, just because I like buying shiny new toys. Craig Slanesh is so tempting. I think Vampirates might be on their way, though. Yeah, see, I don't know. I was a believer of the Vampirates thing from some of the stuff at the end of Broken Realms, but you see he looks, I don't know if it's undead or it's an orc or it's something in the preview kind of trailer that Games Workshop showed off the other day. That could definitely be some kind of like undead orc piratey type, perhaps. And obviously there's a witch hunter in that trailer too, so I think some kind of witch hunters versus vampires battle box would sell like hotcakes and be super popular. I know I'd get one and add to the list of things that I haven't painted yet. So we've actually got some leather kind of bits that come down. I don't know if you can see that. Some leather bits that come down from here. So I'm thinking that where it joins the armour we'll paint them gold, and then we'll probably do a leathery colour for these. What we'll probably do is paint Horus first, and we'll go back and decide what kind of scheme we want to use for these. Mark says I had a good year of buying models. Now I have 6,000 points of Blood Angels to paint. That is impressive. I think this is a 40k Blood Angels force. Have you got any plans on painting these yet, Mark? Right. And yeah, I don't know what my painting plans are for this year. Horus want to get done first, just to round out my Sons of Horus. And there have got a few more Sons of Horus things on the way as well. A Proteus Land Raider with the enclosed turrets, just because it's an absolutely gorgeous model. I think it's really, really nice. He's a gold 2. And then there's a Dreadclaw drop pod as well, which is the unique dedicated transport the Sons of Horus can have, which is basically a drop pod that can move after dropping off its load. And then yeah, I want to get one of the termite drills as well, because they're really nice models. And if you've read Saturnine, fits really nicely with the army as well. So that's definitely on the shopping list. It was out of stock when I looked the other day, but Jay tells me they're back in stock now. So yeah, I might have to pick up one of them on payday, because they're really, really nice models. And then yeah, so if that's the plan for January, then going into Feb is obviously going to be Slaanesh. I might try and get some paint on some of the Slaanesh stuff. I painted, I don't know, about 40 Demonettes before Christmas. I've got a load of the old Seekers, but I really don't like the models. The new mounted ones for the Slaanesh release looks really nice, so I'll probably build those instead. And then I've got some Fiends and stuff. Problem is, a lot of my old Slaanesh stuff I've based on the sculpted bases Games Workshop did, but after building the stuff out of Warhammer Underworlds, the dire pageants, I really want to give them the sand bases, because I think that'd fit really well with the kind of oriental vibe that the models have got, and I think that'd gel well with the Lumineth stuff coming as well. Like the guy on the cloud who looks like the Monkey King. Yeah, I think that'd be really fun. So what have we got going down in the chat? So Craig said if they come out with Vampire Range, I'll have to sell my house. Yeah, this is true. Mark's Blood Angels are all primed red, and I've got a plan. Excellent. Dave, Witch Hunters would be amazeballs. Yeah. So if a Witch Hunter, Vampire Hunter, Undead hunting army comes out, I believe that Dave's pledge to finish the armies that he's got might go awry a little bit, because yeah, I know Dave's a big fan of Witch Hunters in all systems. So yeah, if we see some AOS Witch Hunting action, and to be fair, we'll have plenty of undead / demonic stuff to pit them against as well. So yeah, should be exciting times. Okay, well this guy's coming along alright. I wonder if I should have left the arm off. It's what do you guys do for sub-assemblies? Obviously I've left this guy on the kind of resin gate that he was on, just to give me a bit of handle, rather than attaching him to the base, because I think he'd be a bit fiddly to paint, and I've left the kind of leather straps and his head and his cloak separately. How do you guys normally manage your sub-assemblies? I know some people would probably keep the arms separate on these and paint them separate as well. I suppose it all depends on how you like to manage painting your model, I guess. And for me, often I'll just build it because I want to use it on the table. But it is often much easier to have a model in sub-assemblies, just to make it a little bit easier to get your paintbrush in some of those awkward spaces. One of those things that I've started to do as well is any areas that underneath the model, or you're not going to see, just don't worry about painting them. You're going to see them on the tabletop. You're not even going to see them in, pictures. The only person who knows that it's not painted is yourself. And often, in the act of trying to paint those funny details, you can mess up other parts of the model that you've already done. So yeah, I tend to just not worry about it. That said, I've painted the interior of a Reaver Titan that nobody is ever going to see.
Motion detected at the front door.
And apologies, that's my front door going. So, if we do that. Now, one option for trim that I've used on my Adeptus Titanicus stuff is use a gold pen for the trim. It's easier to manoeuvre and manage than a paintbrush. Just a gold Sharpie. It works really well on Titans because you've got those nice raised details you can run it against. I've actually got one here. If we go, ooh. So yeah, just a gold Sharpie like that. Run it across the details. I think for Horus, he's probably a little bit fiddly to do that with. I'd probably struggle to get him in the details there. So yeah, it's one of those. Andy Wood says, "What's a sub-assembly?" So I take it you're a fan of just building it and working it out later. Mark, any part that is blocked, then I don't assemble those. I'll paint it then assemble. Jay says, using that logic, you may as well put Horus down and stop painting altogether. My loyalist will make sure people won't see him on this table for very long. That is fighting talk, Jay. Absolutely fighting talk. Well, the first game when we can is going to have to be Imperial Fists versus Sons of Horus, isn't it? And we'll show these upstarts what the Warmaster can do. And in fact, you can't just call him Horus, Jay. You've got to give him his full title. That's just rude otherwise. So, how are we doing here? We're getting there. We're getting there. So it looks like we've got a bit of gold on here. So we shall continue doing that. This is coming together a lot quicker than I thought it would, to be honest. Painting trim can often be a nightmare, and I'm clearly some kind of masochist because I've recently picked up a Chaos Space Marines army. I'm going to do a Black Legion. I will probably do them in exactly the same scheme as this. So gloss black armour and gold trim. Oh, Jay says, sorry, loser Horus. Well, you call him a loser, but Sanguinius didn't do particularly well in the fight against him, did he? In fact, it's been a long time since we've been able to go to Warhammer World and mock you over the dire armour of Sanguinius dead on the floor as the Warmaster shows me his boss. For an older model, I've got to say, this thing has got a load of detail. It's a really nice sculpt. What you'll sometimes find with Forge World models is if you can get kind of a fresh mould, the detail will be a lot sharper. The moulds that they use only tend to last a couple of models until they need replacing. So you'll find if it's an older mould, the detail won't be as sharp. Forge World are really, really good customer service wise. If you do get one that's looking a bit soft on the detail, just give them a shout and they'll replace it for you. Never had any more issues getting stuff sorted from them in the past. So yeah, good to know. Jay says Alpha Legion propaganda, I'm sure of it. Andy, Sanguinius isn't dead, he's just sleeping. This is turning into like a Monty Python sketch now, isn't it? An ex-Sanguinius. Yeah, as much as I'd like to see Sanguinius return in the current storyline, I think he's fairly dead. Sorry. Spoilers. But yeah, I don't think he's in a good way after Horus batters him on the bridge of the Vengeful Spirit. Now, obviously, we don't know the true story of that either. And that's something I'm looking forward to reading up on in the Siege of Terror series, which we're halfway through now. Mortis comes out in January, so I'm hoping we actually have a pre-order next weekend for that book, because I will absolutely be picking it up. The Siege of Terror series is probably my favourite series of books that Black Library have done. Have any of you guys read the Siege of Terror series? What do you guys think of it so far? I've managed to pick up the kind of limited edition versions for each book, so I'm kind of committed now to getting them all. On the plus side, you do get the book a couple of months early compared to the kind of general release version. So yeah, I'm often very excited and like, oh my god, Jay, I want to tell you about this. So we've got a bit of detail here. I'm not sure what that is. Is it a wolf's head? Yeah, it is. I'll just get that painted in there. Now a lot of his lower armour panels is going to be a bit dusty and muddy as well. Mark says Sanguinius' model is also a great model. Yeah, it really is. It's a really, really nice model. Especially the version that I think when it first came out, you could get like a limited edition base for it, which had him fighting a demon, if I remember rightly. I'm sure Jay will correct me on that. But yeah, it was a gorgeous, gorgeous model. Another one of those that I'd like to paint at some point, but there's so many models I want to paint. I'd end up with a room filled with models, even more so than I already have. So gonna try and get some of the backlog painted this year, I think. Just because I've got a lot of stuff that needs painting, and that's one of the reasons why we decided to do these streams as well, because it gives us a little outlet to do some painting, chat some hobby, and yeah, just get some stuff done. So hope you've enjoyed watching these, and yeah, spread the word next time, because if people enjoy it, this will be a regular occurrence, and we'll do lots of hobby streaming, which should be fun. Because in a perfect world, you know, I want to do stream some games, play some Warhammer. It's just unfortunately with the year that we've had, we've not really been able to do that, which is a shame. It really is. So in 2021, what do you guys want to do? Assuming that the world's in some kind of normality by Easter, what's the first game you want to play? I'm kind of thinking that the Sprues and Brews lads are all going to have to go to Warhammer World as soon as we can, and have a massive game of Warhammer to celebrate. Andy, I worked out the other day I have enough Zangors, etc. for my Zeech that I almost have a Beasts of Chaos army. Yes, Andy, do it. I'm really interested in seeing if you can do a Slangor based army, because I absolutely love the sexy Slangor out of Diachasm. I've got him just here. So I painted this guy up from Diachasm. Let me see if I can get the focus on here. And just think, an army of these guys would be amazing. And yeah, I really like the base. I want I wish Games Workshop made sculpted bases like this, because I think they'd work really well for a lot of the New Age of Sigmar ranges. I'm going to have to try and recreate it with green stuff or third-party bases, I think. Jay says, I want some games with my Lumineth. Oh, Mark, you only found the channel last week. I hope you're enjoying it. Yeah, this is the first stream we've done. We did stream a battle report in the week that we didn't have lockdown restrictions in the UK. We have in the past done some kind of filmed battle reports as well. Problem with those is they look better and they're more tightly edited, but it takes a long time to make them. So you're talking a day to film the video, then a day for me to edit them, and by then the kind of moment's passed. Where with a live stream, the logic is it's a bit more raw and unedited, but you see the actual game, and we're never going to be a super tactics-based channel. That's not really our scene. There's lots of other options if you want the kind of tournament play. We kind of just want the raw, fun enjoyment of playing a game of Warhammer and all the laughs and twists and turns that come with that for when Dave inevitably fails his charge twice, when the 1,000,000 to 1 chance thing of happens inevitably. Hayden the Coffee Addict, hello, how are you doing? Welcome to the stream. I am painting up Horus the Warmaster for my Sons of Horus army. Really nice model from Forge World. And yeah, nice centerpiece to add to the collection. I am currently in gold trim hell, because he's got a lot of trim on him. And I am kind of wondering now if it, in hindsight, would have been easier to paint him paint him gold, and then paint in the trim. But I don't think I'd have been able to get the nice kind of glossy black then. So yeah, for my crimes against the Emperor, I'm now sat here painting all the gold trim in the world. There's worse things to do. I could be painting Blood Angels. Winding up the Blood Angel supporters in the chat. So yeah. Mark, I don't know if you've checked out the podcast as well. We do a weekly podcast that goes out on a Tuesday, where we basically talk hobby for an hour or so. We passed the 100 episode kind of threshold last year. It's really been a strange year, but I feel that we've managed to get quite a bit of stuff done, sprues and brews wise. So yeah, really happy with that. We've also had a couple of celebrity guests. Runebrush Pete, he's won a Golden Demon. We've had Duncan Rhodes on the show. Absolute legend, as I'm sure you'll know. Even Mr. Andy Woods has been on the show a couple of times, and I'm sure he's probably due another visit soon as well. If you don't know, Andy is part of the Purple Sparkly Unicorns, who are a local kind of Warhammer club here. Andy, feel free to plug away in the chat any details. But yeah, if you are in the kind of Cheshire area and close to Crewe, then when the world returns to normal, they have regular club nights, tournaments, active kind of WhatsApp group. Yeah, bit of fun. Jay says probably more gold trim on a Blood Angels army. Yeah, that is true, but Blood Angels deserve that. Getting to the point where I can't see where the gold trim starts and stops now. I haven't really been poking around, so I'm going to stalk your channel after this. Excellent. Oh yeah, Paul Murphy as well. Forgot about Paul. Yeah, we had him on talking about 40k. We did try and tease some details of the new edition of 40k out of him, but he was very well behaved and didn't slip any details too early. So yeah. Yeah, Mark, we really appreciate the support. It's we do this for fun, really. We we're going to be sat here doing hobby anyway, so may as well do it and share it with you guys. It's going to be a strange one, the start of 2021. Because obviously Games Workshop's release schedule has been impacted by COVID/Brexit as well. So I think we've got a couple of quiet weeks coming up from Games Workshop while they just catch up with the release schedule. We've got the Death Guard up for pre-order 2 weeks yesterday, I want to say. So we've got a couple of weeks to get through before some new models come out. So perfect time to catch up and paint some existing models that you've got, which is always a good way to start the new year. Kind of clear out some of the backlog. I mean, technically Horus isn't part of the backlog because I got them for Christmas, but I'll still take that. But yeah, this is such a nice model. I'm tempted. With some banding on here. Don't know whether to paint that gold or leave it black. I might leave it black. We'll see how it goes and we'll go back, and I think it might look a bit too much bling if it's gold all the way around. And a lot of that's going to be dusty and weathered anyway, so yeah, we'll see how that goes. Out of interest, guys, obviously we've got up here, there's a box out for another camera. My other camera's out of action at the minute. For the next stream, hopefully should have that up and running. What would you rather see there? Me? So you can see what I look like when I'm talking to you guys? Would you rather kind of a top-down camera looking down at the painting surface? Again, open to suggestions and whatever you prefer. I was thinking maybe a camera pointing at me for that more personal touch. But yeah, if you don't want to see my ugly mug and rather see a kind of top-down image, that is also an option as well. So yeah, just keep us up to date with what you'd like to see on the stream. Hayden says, I find gold to be a bit of a pain to apply to Space Marine sometimes. Yeah, I'm not going to lie, painting trim isn't my favourite thing. It's well worth taking your time and doing it though, because it does look good when it's done. It's just a bit of a grind to apply. And I suppose that's another thing to painting as well. If you ever get to the point where you're not enjoying it, just have a bit of a break. Just do something else, paint something else for a bit, watch a film. What you don't want to do is burn yourself out painting something, because you're just not going to enjoy it. It's not worth doing that, because at the end of the day, it's a hobby. You know, it shouldn't be a job painting model. You should be doing it for fun. And again, this, I suppose, where the distinction between playing for fun and playing in events and stuff, because a lot of people who will play tournaments will see painting it as a job that they need to do before the event. And I suppose the secret is plan your time, block it out. If I have got an event or something to do, and you know I am quite lucky because I can paint an army pretty quickly, is make a bit of a plan, make a bit of a calendar, and block out realistically when you can get each unit done. So if it's like a unit per week, mark it all out on a calendar, like, you know, this week I'm painting my troops, this week I'm painting a hero, and it makes painting the army a lot easier to manage. Because otherwise you might get into the situation where you paint all the kind of fun units that you want to paint, so all your heroes, all your cool tanks and monsters and stuff, and then you look at your pile of infantry and you're like, oh, I really can't face to paint these. So by splitting it down into little manageable chunks and saving the cool units as a reward does make things kind of motivates you, makes you want to carry on painting it. So that's one suggestion from me if you have got a big army painting project you need to do to a deadline. Obviously at the minute I don't think anyone's really got that problem because nobody's doing any tournaments, but it can help if you want to paint an army quickly. There's a really good army painting video on Warhammer Community recently. I think it was yesterday. Peachy did a video detailing kind of 5 tips on how to paint an army quickly. So if you do want to kind of develop your army painting skills, I'll definitely give that a look. So Mark, I agree. Trim is not fun, but looks good when done. Jay, I always find it takes a couple of passes between panel trim, touch up panel again, touch up trim again. Same method on Adeptus Titanicus Titans, Guilliman, etc. Andy, I used to message cheese and looking back, wish I hadn't. Yeah, I mean, it depends what you want to get out of the hobby, doesn't it? Some people, it's more about the gaming, and props to them. There's a lot of people who are a lot better at Warhammer than I am. I just kind of turn up and roll some dice and have a bit of a laugh. For a lot of people, it's a competitive event and they want to win and have the best list possible. And with that, there is an element of buying and painting an army that you wouldn't necessarily buy and paint yourself for fun. So I've often picked up models to paint just because I think they're gorgeous. That may not be the best in game. So, for example, the Forge World, the Night Shroud, is it? The Necron Bomber. I'm not going to lie, it's fairly garbage rules-wise compared to the standard Necron Flyers. But I really like the model, so I picked it up and bought it. That's not to say I won't buy good units. I've got the Nightbringer as well, that he can get busted out if I do take part in a competitive event. I've got something that can put up a fight. But for me, really, the first choice into what to get in an army is what looks cool. I haven't seen the Slaanesh army book yet, but I already know that I want to take some Slangors because they look amazing. I want to take the big guy in the Palanquin because he looks amazing to paint. So models that I like will be the priority, models that I want to paint, and then I'll build an army around them. And then by then, normally I've got a big enough collection that out of that stuff I can then build an army that will do okay in a tournament. For Throne of Skulls and stuff, I just take what's fun. I took Vorgrath. At the time was 1,200 points. I pretty much had space for my minimum battle line and a couple of support characters, and that was that. And surprisingly, he did really well at the event. But that was helped by the fact that, I got favourite game votes, I got favourite army votes. At a grand tournament, he wouldn't do so well. He'd get absolutely battered. But I'm not too fussed. I'll happily take a subpar army to an event if I think it looks cool. I'm more into the painting side. I'd rather get a best army vote than a 5 wins at an event. But different thing people like, isn't it? It's some people would despise painting and just want to win events. That is just as valid for your hobby as if you have never played a competitive game of Warhammer in your life and you just want to paint some models. Dave says disappeared for a bit there. Did we have some technical problems then? Did the stream drop? Mark, I enjoyed the collecting and painting more than the painting. I play for fun, not competitive. You'll never see me at a tournament. Well, Mark, you were based in the States, did you say? I'd really recommend some of the more casual events that Games Workshop do. So Throne of Skulls is a really, really fun event. Part of the scoring is based on favourite game votes, favourite army votes. It's more my kind of scene than everything based purely on your gaming prowess, because I'm not going to lie, I'm not the best Warhammer player in the world. I just like to roll some dice and have some cool looking models. Oh, Dave says the stream was fine. Had to feed Mr. Man. I hope hope your little one's okay. Is he watching the stream? Maybe he'll enjoy that. Dave, what is this competitive list that you're talking about? Really like tournaments, but never super competitive. Andy, I'm happy to win 2 games as long as all the games are fun. Yeah, and that's it. I would never want to take a list to an event where I know that the person I'm playing isn't going to enjoy their time playing the game. You know, we've all been there where we've played a game that you just get absolutely battered. It's not fun for anyone involved. Surely it can't be fun for the person who's playing as well to just table your turn 1. But you know, maybe it is. Maybe some people enjoy that. It's one of those, isn't it? Again, I'm not going to tell you how to do your hobby. It's your hobby. People enjoy different things, but I would say at an event, bear in mind that everyone does want to have fun. So don't be that guy, basically. Right. So, Chris, how are you doing? I've got this little fella sat in a box waiting for a paint job. But after painting Gulliman recently, I can't bring myself to start with all the gold trim. Yeah, it's. I mean, we've been streaming for an hour. We managed to do majority of the gold trim. A few bits need tidying up, but I don't think that's too bad. I think gold trim is one of those things you've got to be in the right mindset to do it, because it can be soul destroying if you're not in the right mood to do it. Once this is done, I mean, that's the majority of the fiddly bits done on the model, so yeah, should be good. I might go back and add the gold banding on the back. We'll see how he looks once the rest of this is done, but we've got pretty much this part here, his arms. There's a bit of gold on the cape and on the kind of leather straps that attach on here, but I don't think that's bad going for a Sunday afternoon. Obviously we've got the claw as well. We'll have some gold trim on. Then we'll be going with the silver, get that all washed down with Basilicarum Grey, I think. And then, then we can start working on the fun stuff, like the wolf on the top and his face. The face is something I want to spend some time with. One of my favourite quotes from Chris Peach is, "Faces and bases make aces." So, getting that down. You can get away with some bits being not so neat on the rest of the model because your eyes are drawn to the base and the face. It's don't worry about trying to get the entire model looking like the box art, because if you are in that mindset, the problem is you're never going to finish a model because you're always too worried about getting it done. So yeah, I tend to not chill too much. So newcomers to the stream, if you're watching, what's next on your painting list? What do you want to get done this year? There's a lot of stuff I want to get painted, but yeah, I might do a lot more this year of just bouncing between different projects, just seeing what the mood takes me. Especially if we carry on doing these streams as well, because then it gives me a little outlet to paint something different for a couple of hours, get some work done. I'm not going to lie, most of my December painting time has been taken up with Cyberpunk. I've been playing that. Finished that, so now the full attention is on painting models again. I was also thinking I might do a bit of a video on all the stuff that I've painted up this last year. So I don't know if that's something people would be interested in seeing. If it is, give us a shout in the comments, because I think it might be fun to have a look back at what I've managed to paint 2020. It was a lot of models. I did scribble it down somewhere. What do we have? About 400 models I painted this year, plus scenery. It all kind of blurs together. Andy says, where to begin? Mark says, I know that feeling. Yeah. You know, it might be worth put together, I don't know, it's a bit sad, but put together the spreadsheet, logging all the stuff that you've got unpainted, all the stuff that you've got unbuilt, and see how many of them you can tick off your list and get them done over the year. You know, not going to lie, we're probably going to still be in lockdown for a long time. So I think it is going to be a while until we can play games again. So it is the perfect time to get some paint down on models and get your collection finished. Well, as finished as it can ever be anyway. Right, that's the legs looking pretty good. We've got a little bit of trim on the boots, so let's paint that. Mark, I'll finish my suppressors first, then my smash captain. Awesome. I've got a load of Space Marine sprues waiting to get painted. I probably going to do a Space Wolf Force. Originally I was going to do White Scars, but I think I'm going to use them for Heresy. Have a fully kind of like bike mounted army, because I think that'd be really fun, and it's easier to do that I think in Heresy than it is in 40k. And then for my 40k Space Marine Force, do Space Wolves. I think that'd be pretty fun. Now, I am traditionally in the group the kind of Chaos player, so there's a good possibility that my Black Legion jumps the queue and I end up doing those before the Space Wolves. And let's face it, there's going to be loads of cool stuff out this year. We've got the awesome battle box with Sisters of Battle and Drakari in it. I quite fancy painting some Drakari, so I might pick that up and yeah, put together a force of them. Because I think from what we've seen in the previews, a Drakari army is going to be a lot more customizable and easier to have the models that you want. Where before it had quite an unusual structure in the way that you pick your forces, because they had to be, you know, a witch heavy force or a Cabalite warrior heavy force. So yeah, I think I'll be painting together maybe just a crusade force. It might evolve into a full army, let's face it, but I think some Drakari, because I've not painted any space elves for a long time. I did have a Drakari army way back when they got re-released with the awesome new models and the new raiders and stuff. I did an army that was very much Tron inspired, I guess. Lots of sharp edged highlights, and the weapons were gloss white with glowing blue and orange elements in a kind of like portal style. So I might have to resurrect them. Okay, so is it beer 30 yet? I need to go to the store, but I can't buy it for 6 hours. Oh no. Liquor laws in this state are dumb. Well, yeah. I might have to crack open a drink later on. It's only 1 o'clock here, but yeah, no, it's a lot earlier in the morning for you. So yeah, hope you weather the day until your store opens. So anything you'd like to see painted on the stream, guys? Any kind of requests? I've been building up a lot of Necromunda scenery, so I did a painting guide over on Warhammer Community detailing how to paint the Zone Mortalis stuff. But, you know, is that something you'd like to see in person on a stream? Kind of take you through the steps of how to paint Zone Mortalis scenery and how I go about basically making a massive mess. It is a fun little job. Or is there any particular armies you'd like to see painted on the stream, or maybe even guest painters? Have somebody on to join in painting with us. Open to all suggestions. So yeah, just pop them in the comments if you have got any ideas of stuff that you'd like to see us stream over the new year, because streaming's something I'd like to do a lot of this year. Andy, I think I'll try to finish my ogres. I have 10 nobblers and 4 Mournfang to do, and then all my ogres are done. Absolutely, Andy. When we can, we need to get them on a battle report as well, or a stream or something. I think that'd be really fun. I've still got a Feast of Bones box full of ogres I need to get built as well. I've got quite a big ogre force, so yeah, I might paint some of them as well. I was tempted to use some of them to convert up some more slave ogrins for my Necromunda force, but the plastic box from Games Workshop was really, really good, to be fair. So in the end, I didn't need to use any. But seeing how our campaign goes, I might add to them with some new models. Chris, how are you going to approach the base? Well, Chris, I've actually already been working on the base. So let's see if we can get this into focus. So I basically airbrushed down kind of the grey and bone base colours. We put down Rhinox hide in the kind of muddy areas. Washed the whole thing down with Agrax. I gave it another airbrush just to catch the raised surfaces, and then went to town dry brushing it various colours. Gorthor brown in there, Dawnstone, all over, just to give it that kind of gritty, dirty look. So I might add some more greens in there, but fairly happy with how that turned out. There's the rock that Horus sits on. I think that needs some greens just to add to the aged look of the base. And then there's a piece that kind of goes over and connects the two, so they kind of go in like that. Oops. And then that pops in like there. And there we go. That is what the completed base will look like. So I really like these sculpted bases for the collector series kind of models. I think they look really good. So yeah, I've been working on this last couple of days. What I tend to do with my Heresy stuff is then attach them to the base and then give it another once over with the dry brushing, so it catches on there kind of like greaves and stuff. It just kind of adds to the... It ties them together, so your super clean model isn't just stood on really dirty ground. There's a bit of that grime and muck on there. Cheers, Mark. Yeah, I really enjoyed painting it up. I like painting scenery and terrain and stuff, so kind of sculpted bases like that are my jam, I suppose, as the kids would call it. So we are getting there. We are getting there on Trim City. So we've got some little kind of like dangly bits here. Just capture them. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of fiddly elements to painting this guy. I am not gonna lie. But hopefully he should look pretty good when he's done. Give the brush a quick clean because it's getting a bit gunky. So everyone had a good Christmas and New Year. Any New Year's resolutions that you guys have got? Anything planned? Don't have to be hobby related, you know. It's anyone got any plans for something they want to do in 2021? Get out of the house and go somewhere, I suppose, would be a nice one at the minute. But yeah, I think doing lots of stuff for your mental health is probably good this year as well. You know, go out for a walk, get some fresh air. It's I think unfortunately going to be working from home for a while longer, so any kind of hobbies and interests and just things to relax and kind of get away from everything that's happening in the world at the minute is really good at the moment. Yeah. Because, you know, it has been tough for everyone this year. I'm really, really looking forward to doing some events. So I'm not a tournament guy, but for those kind of casual kind of like throwing a skull, team events, stuff like that. Just the kind of camaraderie and getting to meet some people. There's people that I've only kind of met at events and really, really nice guys. So kind of for the social element, tournaments are really, really fun for me. I want to do as well, if, assuming that the world returns to some kind of normal, Games Workshop often do some painting events where the heavy metal team will kind of teach you how to paint a model. It'll be like a weekend focused on how to paint faces or how to paint plasma glow. I think they would be really, really nice to do. Mark says I'm too old for resolutions. Andy, go for a 30-minute walk every day. That's a really good idea. PSU events at Ace, they definitely are. Highly recommend Purple Sparkly events. Mark, I'm an essential worker, so I'm still busy working and travelling. Yeah, it's as long as you're staying safe and keeping to it, I'm sure you'll be fine. Chris, that looks awesome, very grim and dark in detail, but won't distract from the main man himself. Thanks, Chris. Yeah, I really enjoy painting it. Jay, a team event? Well, yeah, I think the entire Brews and Brews team will be doing a team event as soon as we can. We even had a ringer in the form of Andy, who hopefully still wants to join us when that's a thing. Dave, non-hobby, run a 5k before the end of the year. Hobby, check out the latest podcast. Yes, so we put our hobby resolutions in this week's podcast, where if you could pop a cheeky link into the chat, that'd be much appreciated. If you haven't listened to the podcast, we every week we talk about all the latest releases, the hobby news, and we also have our top threes where we'll have a subject each week that we'll discuss. And this podcast just gone was our top 3 hobby resolutions for 2021. So one of them for me was do a weekly stream. Absolutely, already started that. I wanted to kind of up my painting and enter a painting tournament of some type. So if by some miracle we can do Golden Demon, I want to try and enter that, or Armies on Parade, or something to that tune. Something a bit different, because I've never actually entered a painting tournament, so I'd like to do that just to develop my skills and get the feedback to help me with that. And create kind of narrative and backstory for all my armies as well. And again, I kind of want to detail that on the website and get a bit of narrative going, especially with Crusade and stuff at the minute. I think it'd be really fun to have a bit of a continuing storyline for our armies. So yeah, I don't know if there's anything you guys want to do hobby wise to that tune. Cheers, Dave. Thanks for the link. Let's review your hobby resolution last year. I only mentioned this as a one. Yeah. So a bit of a tradition. Each year we'll look back at how we got on with our hobby resolutions from the previous year, and Jay did pretty well on his. I didn't. Not gonna lie. Though that was scuppered by, world events. One of them was enter different types of tournaments. And unfortunately, due to the global situation, wasn't able to enter as many tournaments as I'd have liked to. So, still want to do that though when I can. So, Games Workshop had started doing some team events where essentially you have a team of 4 people, and you draft kind of which member of that team is fighting which member of the opposing team. So essentially you'll have 4 simultaneous games of Warhammer at the same time. And it sounded really, really, really good. We were all really looking forward to doing it. And we had tickets and everything. It was cancelled. I had tickets to doubles events, tickets to the grand tournament, because I wanted to give that a go as well. And I also wanted to try out one of the Horus Heresy narrative events. So Warhammer World often do an event. It's normally over 3 days, so Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and it'll be a mixture of small and big games. And that really, really appeals But again, obviously from March, pretty much all events in Warhammer World being cancelled, it didn't happen, unfortunately. So I want to try and, if we can, make that up this year. Now, I'm not expecting events to be open anytime soon, and it will be obviously it will happen when it happens, but as soon as we can, I will absolutely be buying some tickets to events, because I think that'd be really fun. Andy Woods, my hobby resolution list went from 25 things I wanted to do over the year in the hobby to 11 because of COVID. So Andy's done a really cool thing in the past where he's given himself some kind of like hobby goals over the year, and I believe I only beat you at an event once because you refused to take the double turn because it was one of your challenges to kick off the list. And I have to say, I think that's really, really cool. Even if it cost you the game. Is that something you're looking to do again, Andy? It's certainly impressive. Because I know I'd quickly change my tune and decide, actually, I want to win this game. Chris, really enjoy the podcast. It's great chewing gum for the ears while I get some painting done. Thanks, Chris. Yeah, we really enjoy doing it. You keep listening, we'll keep making it. We might not be pro tournament players, but we like to throw in our opinions and hobby antics, just for something a bit different. Mark, one of these days I need to make it to England and go to Warhammer World. Yeah, it's really, really worth the trip. It's such a great place. They obviously it's a little bit different at the minute, but they often have events there. Bugman's is amazing. They have the exhibition hall with loads of displays. Pretty much every kind of heavy metal painted model they've done is in the museum. Loads of massive displays as well. So yeah, well worth the trip. If only for the Forge World store as well. Now it's a little bit different now because I think Forge World only charged £3.50 for delivery, but a couple of years ago, where they charge you a percentage of the model for postage, it was often cheaper for us to drive to Nottingham and head to the Forge World store there. We normally tend to go a couple of times a year and have a bit of a event where we'll all go, make some lists and play some games over a couple of days, because you actually book some of the awesome, gorgeous display tables that they've got. At the minute, when they did briefly reopen, they weren't using those awesome display boards just because they're hard to clean from a COVID point of view. So I think they were using kind of just like wiped down mats at the minute, but I imagine when the world's back to normal, those awesome big display boards will be back, and you can actually book them and have some games on them, which is really fun. Chris, plus you guys put me onto Alchemist Workshop, which is not far from me, but does give my wallet a battering each time I go there. Yeah, so they're a fairly local store. If anyone does want to support the site, we do have an affiliate link to Element Games as well. So anything that you order through the link on the website, which again I'm sure Dave can throw in a cheeky link, we actually get kind of commission on that, which helps pay for the website and the streams and all the equipment and everything, which is really good. So yeah, thanks for all your support with stuff like that. Is there anything you guys would like to see on the website or the podcast or the stream over the next year? You know, anything that we don't currently do that you'd like to see us do? Like I said, we're always open to any feedback for stuff like that, so don't be scared to give us a shout and tell us what you would like to see. You know, this might seem like a super slick operation, but not gonna lie, we will wing it sometimes. So tell us what you want, and we'll make it happen. Apologies there, guys. Had a boat plane up there. So yeah, I guess a lot of people are back to work tomorrow as well. The Christmas break has come to a close, unfortunately. So it's my last day of freedom before we go back to work, which is always a fun one. So yeah, hoping to get quite a bit of work done on Horus before then. Plus, I'll be able to brag to the guys on the podcast that will be recorded tomorrow that I've done more hobby than them, and that's all that matters at the end of the day. Making sure I do more hobby than Jay and Dave. Though I think Jay may have given me a run for my money this week. You've managed to do quite a bit. Built a load of Lumineth. Doing some work on the Tau Titan thing. So yeah, I think there'll be some competition on the podcast this week. We're always really interested to see what you guys have been doing as well. So, you know, if you send us a tweet with what you've been working on, we can always mention them on the podcast as well, which is always a good bit of fun. Ooh, this guy is fiddly. I'm starting to go trim blind, staring at trim all day. But we're nearly there. I don't think that's bad going. A couple of hours to get the gold down on him. There'll be other bits that I need to go back and add. But yeah, he's certainly getting there. Marcus, I like your website, very organised. Thank you very much. Thanks to Dave, does all the kind of website side of things. He makes sure everything looks shipshape, and yeah, looks after that side of it. Jay, I'm on the Lumineth hype train again. Nothing like a GW preview to get you motivated to paint an army again. Yeah. So what was everyone excited about in that preview? Because I was super excited from watching it. The Witch Hunter in particular looks really cool. Main thing for me is the new Titan. Now, at first we thought it was a a new variant of Imperial Knight, but yeah, it's definitely a Titan because it's got the Legio Titanicus icon on its shoulder. So we were speculating on could it be a new Nemesis pattern Titan. So if you don't know, a Nemesis is a designation given to a Titan wielding bigger weapons than normally expected for that mass. So the Warbringer is a Nemesis Titan. It's essentially based on the Reaver chassis, but it's got Warlord scale weapon on its back and defences to help it from aircraft, because it's a siege Titan that sits miles back and blasts things from a distance. So obviously the Imperator Titan is the massive Titan with a cathedral on its back. I would love it to be one of them, but it'd be in Titanicus scale. It'd be a little bit taller than a 40k Knight, so certainly doable. I mean, probably talking 120 quid kit if it's plastic. But I do wonder if they'll maybe start with something a little bit smaller, so a Nemesis pattern Warlord. Now in the lore there's a Titan called a Komodo, which was a Warlord outfitted with Imperator weapons. I reckon it could be one of them. It could be have a big back-mounted cannon on it. We've seen it's got massive plasma guns for the arms, and then the similar kind of anti-air defences on its shoulders. So I think that's good a bet as any. Equally, you know, they could just invent new marks of Titans as well for the game. I think that shouldn't be overlooked. You know, they're not locked into the lore. The lore in the background can always change as it suits them. I think one of the dangers is being so set on, oh, well, this doesn't exist, that, you know, you miss stuff. It's the universe is a big place, and with all the kind of propaganda and misinformation and just details lost over the years, they can easily add new stuff to 40k. So, you know, when people say that, oh, well, this didn't exist at that time, doesn't matter. Maybe it did, and there just wasn't any records of it. The Imperium isn't well known for keeping correct details of things at times. You know, there's a lot of misinformation and propaganda that maybe this is a Titan we've never seen. Maybe Sanguinius didn't die on the Bridge of the Vengeful Spirit, and this is just horrific propaganda that's being spread, you know. Law is fluid, law can change. So I don't think Games Workshop should not create something cool and new just because it didn't happen from a law standpoint. They can always change that. Right, so I think we are very nearly done with the gold trim here. I think I am going to band in these bits here because they do look like they should be gold. It adds a bit more variation to the back of the leg here. But yeah, really happy with how this guy has come together. It's certainly been fun painting this. Someone clipped that saying Sanguinius isn't dead. Yeah. This is what I mean about filthy propaganda. I just want to make a video of this now. I'm just appealing to the Blood Angels in the chat. So what model has everyone painted that they've been the most proud of? What have you guys list as your kind of like accomplishments in painting models? Is there anything in particular that you've really been proud of? I mean, for me, my Sons of Horus, I really enjoyed painting them and was really happy with how they turned out. So hence starting on the big guy for the new year. Are there any models that you guys have been working on that, you know, you look at and think, oh, that's really nice, I'm really proud of what I've done there? Interested to know what you guys think on that. So Jay, last year Altharian and the Avalanor. Yeah, you did a really nice job on the mountain spirit fella. Such a nice model, and it's a weird one, isn't it? Because obviously we waited so long for the Lumineth to come out. I think a lot of people's excitement had waned a little bit by the time they'd come out, which is why it's quite nice that there's clearly another wave of them coming. Because yeah, it is nice to be excited about new models coming out. I think that's part of the hobby. Mark, none. I suck at painting, but I still enjoy it. Hey, you know, everyone starts at the same point. Nobody picks up a paintbrush and they're amazing at painting. It all comes down to practice. You know, try pushing your comfort zone. You know, you can start out maybe pick up a model with a aim of improving a specific thing that you're trying to paint. So I don't know, do you want to practice dry brushing? Then pick up something with lots of kind of like fur textures, so you can practice that. Want to practice your painting trim? Pick up Horus, because there's a lot of that. But yeah, I think painting is a thing that everyone can learn, but it does take time, and it takes, you know, it takes a lot of practice. You know, nobody is immediately a Golden Demon painter. All these people that do kind of Golden Demon stuff, they put a lot of time and effort into doing that. So just keep painting. Ask for constructive feedback as well. You know, it can sting a little bit maybe if somebody says, "Oh, that's not great," but I'd much rather someone tell me, that looks a bit shoddy," rather than just saying, "Oh yeah, that's amazing." Just because you grow as a painter that way. So David Anderson, my Lord of Change is the one that I was proud of. Nice space with a magic circle on it too. Awesome. Yeah, send us some pictures over on Twitter as well if you have got any to hand. Yeah. Satria, hi. Welcome to the stream. You've missed about an hour and a half of me painting gold trim on Horus and talking about what we've been up to over the new year. We obviously this one was a bit of, on the down low, a bit of a quiet stream, which we didn't really advertise because we're just kind of testing out the system, testing out the camera and everything, making sure it works. Hopefully from next week when we go to do these properly, we'll have them scheduled and we'll have a full kind of bill of what we're doing. So yeah, let us know what you think of the stream, how everything looks, if you change anything, because yeah, that'd be much appreciated if you could. It'd be really helpful for us for feedback to get the stream good. What do you want to see? What kind of stuff? We have been kind of some rumblings about us playing Soulbound, the Age of Sigmar role-playing game. I think we could do that via stream as well. Just looking for content that we can do without meeting up in person, because obviously we can't at the minute. So yeah, any ideas, let us know, because we have open ears for that. We definitely do. Okay, so I think we are nearly there with the trim now. We've got a little bit of edging there maybe, and rivets. The rivets take a long time to do, but I think they really add to the final effect once it's painted. We've got a bit of trim under his arm as well. I'm sure I'll be like, oh yeah, this is done, and then come back to it next week and there'll be a load of trim that I've missed. Got to the point where I'm slightly blind to the trim now. But when it's done, that's one of the most time-consuming parts done, and then really should be able to rattle through the rest of the model. I want to spend a lot of time on the face. I'm tempted to give it some red lighting from underneath, just to kind of imitate that Horus versus the Warmaster. Horus versus the Emperor artwork from way back, where he's got the kind of evil looking red glow under his face. I want to try and replicate that. It may take a few attempts to do that, because I think that's going to be quite tough, but I think the model will look better with that than without. And then we've just got these little rivets on here. So just carefully do these. And then after this, I think really it's the silver that we need to go on. Ooh, we've got some new arrivals in the stream. So Stanley, great tutorial, mate. Thank you very much. More of a slowly painting gold trim than a tutorial, but I hope you've enjoyed it. And Daniel Watson, good evening from Australia. We have got an international audience tonight. How are you guys getting on? Recent arrivals to the stream. What have you been painting? What have you been painting over the new year? Chris, I enjoyed painting Mortarion. It took a hell of a long time, but I broke out the airbrush to practice on the wings with blending, and I'm pretty happy with him. Yeah, airbrush is one of the best things I've had hobby-wise. It takes a little time getting used to it, but it gives you so much more kind of freedom in what you can do. I'm not gonna lie, an airbrush takes a lot of work. You got to clean it out, and yeah, it's a bit messy at times. But if you persist with it and make sure that you clean it well, then yeah, airbrush will do you wonders. Daniel, not really international, as I'm very much a northerner. Excellent. Daniel, are you Fabius Fulgrim by any chance? I want to say. Thinking off the top of the head of any Australian but northern audience that we've got. If it is, then yeah, you'll have to give you a shout once all the new Slaanesh stuff comes out, because I will absolutely be doing some painting streams of that stuff, because I love me some Slaanesh. But yeah, I think, unless I've missed anything on here, that's the majority of the gold trim that I can see. So let's just tidy up that little bit there. So I don't know how well you can see this. Let us know, guys. Can you see the model okay on here? I'm not entirely convinced on the camera setup. I think that looks okay. Yeah. Like I say, once we're doing these kind of permanently, can have some additional cameras set up. This is just a kind of quick test with the one. But yeah, pretty happy with him so far. So next I need to do the gold on the kind of leather bits on here. So a little bit of gold on the top and bottom of them. And then I also need to do the gold on the cloak as well. So the cloak I have airbrushed ready. Might go in with some more highlights later on, but essentially at the minute it is Mephiston red and then Flesh Terror contrast for an airbrush to give it a little bit of a sheen. Just makes it look a bit more rich, I suppose, compared to the cloaks on the other guys. So there's a bit of gold detailing on there that I need to do, and then that should be all the gold completed. I've been rumbled. Excellent. Nice to know, Daniel. Looks good to me, but I'm just on my phone at work. No, that's cool. If you could paint the model a little bit further forwards, that would be amazing. Further forwards. So, like there. Does that? Problem is, it gets a little bit washed out close to the camera. Yeah. Cool. Well, we'll have a play. We'll have a play with the camera set up. You guys seem to be seeing okay, so we can sort that out. Stanley, my hands shake too much these days, and so unfortunately no painting. Middle-aged blues. It's going to happen to us all, I'm afraid. What I find is that for me, if you can kind of stabilise your hands. Let's sit here. Kind of stabilise your hands on the edge of the table. Give you a bit of support that helps you kind of brace yourself. It'd be my advice. If you do find that your hands are unsteady, and use the kind of the edge of the brush rather than the tip, it's worth a shot. Mark, I think my next part of learning painting is to do airbrushing. I have the brush techniques down, but still don't like how my stuff comes out. Keep trying different methods. You know, people paint in different ways. I have quite a messy, quick paint style, I think, compared to, say, Jay, for example, will take, you know, loads of time painting an individual model. I tend to, if I'm painting like a unit or something, just batch paint the hell out of them. And that's the thing, is just finding the painting style that kind of works for you. Right, let's see. I think with it close to the camera, Andy, it just gets a little bit washed out, I'm afraid. But we'll see. So we've got a little bit of gold detail at the top of here. A lot of this we can just pop the gold down, wash, and then go back in with some more details. That's a little bit thin, that paint. Let's add a bit more paint to that mix. So, Jay said, looking good, needs more bullet holes though. Yeah, well, You know me saying that when the Warmaster's smashing Sanguinius, are you? So this is a little bit messy in a minute, but not too concerned about spending a great deal of time getting that neat because there's other washes and colours that need to go on it. It's not looking that, is it? Let's just adjust this here. There we go, that's a lot better. Yeah, so let's get some paint on this bit. Yeah, I don't need to be too neat here because I'm going over all the black's going to be gone over with leather anyway, so no point spending loads of time making sure that's super neat. I can just go back and fix it up later on. Especially as this is kind of a minor detail kind of hanging behind the model as well. It's not a big achievement smashing Sanguinius in his Kevlar dress. Yeah, it's Sanguinius does get a lot of stick for his dress. I mean, if you're going to fight Horus, you want to wear like some armour, don't you? Rather than rocking up in your dress. That just seems like a bad idea to me. I do miss seeing that diorama at Warhammer World. Though to be fair, Sanguinius did get a cooler diorama put in. Angelus with a demon invasion. It does look very impressive. Alright, what we've got here. So this then is the trim that goes by his arm with the claw. So again, we'll just paint the tops of these gold, which is those areas there. And again, we'll add some leather below that, and then we can wash the whole lot down, and then we'll tidy it up with the highlights, because a lot of that's going to be hidden underneath the arm, so there's no real need to go crazy making sure that's super neat. Waste of time. So that's fine. There's nothing on the back, you won't see anything on the back anyway. Maybe we'll just get that in case you see it through his legs. Okay, and then we are on to the cape. So this is going to be a fiddly bit. Two minds how we're going to do this bit. We've got an eye of Horus on the back, so that will go like that. So that eye we'll see, and then yeah, this gold trim here, and then we can go into kind of this area later on. So let's start with the Eye of Horus. Apologies if this comes out of shot. I might have to move the camera a little bit so you can see this one painting it. How's that looking? That looks okay, doesn't it? Pop that up there. Okay. So yeah, this is going to be a fiddly bit. So what I'm going to do is just add a little bit more water. It just helps the paint flow a little bit more, especially when we need to be controlled. Now another option, we use a smaller brush. I've used a size 0 Artis Opus brush on all of this so far. To be honest, on a lot of it, could probably get away with a size 1 brush I did for most muscles of Horus. The key bit, if it starts beading like that has just then, just give it a clean, make sure it's got a point to it. A lot of people will kind of lick their brushes. I've never really done that. I'll wet it and run it down the kind of crease of my palm just to form it into a point. I find that's the best way at keeping this pointy to make it easier to paint. Because there's nothing worse than trying to paint and your brush is beading or splitting. You're just going to struggle to get any details done then. And it's best to just pause and start again if that's the case. Especially if you're doing fiddly details like this. See, that's drying on the bristles. And a lot of it, getting paints mixed the right consistency is trial and error. Most of the time, I won't be too fussed. It's just really intricate stuff like this. Might be a couple of passes until you're happy with how it is. And you always go back in and add a second coat as well. And that's not super neat. But again, I'm going to put a wash over that. I'm going to go over with another kind of finer coat, maybe with a smaller brush. So I'm fairly happy with that. And the worst thing about doing these streams, I don't know if you can see there, but there's a mould line down the crease of this, which is going to annoy me later on. Not a lot I can do about it now though, and it's, to be fair, that should be hidden by Horus's body anyway, so I'm not super concerned there. And then we'll just carefully do, oops, my camera's going walkies. We'll just carefully do this gold line. Again, just taking my time, not trying to rush this, just getting the gold down on that seam there. And again, that's getting a bit dry, so we'll add some water. We'll just pop this in. That looks better. How's that looking? That's not looking too bad, is it? So yeah, very much trial and error with consistency sometimes. I would say always pop it onto the palette and mix it with some water. Even metallics, I tend to give it a little drop. It just helps it flow a little bit. Some people do use Flow Improve as well. I do use that for airbrush paints. I've not tried it on kind of standard Sistel paints, but presumably it works the same way. Medium as well, especially with contrast. Contrast can sometimes, if you use it straight out of the pot, look a little blotchy when it dries. So just a drop or two of contrast medium just helps it flow a little bit better. Makes it a lot easier to work with. So the fiddliest bit with this is just getting a decent hold on it. What I've often done in the past with components like this isn't too bad because it's quite a chunky piece you can keep hold of, but I keep my corks for my whiskey, and you can just attach them to the top of it. Makes it a lot easier to paint. Equally, you can use the Citadel painting handles, and I'll stick any small components just on a little base on the top. For small components though, I do find the corks easier because it's got a smaller kind of surface you can work off. But yeah, let's finish off this gold trim before we call it a day on the stream. So, anyone got any exciting plans for the rest of the day? What's everybody up to? Daniel, I know it's bright and early. Is it bright and early or bright and late? I'm not sure which way we're going. Very late in Australia, I guess. What's everyone's plans for the new year? I've kind of lost track of time, if I'm honest. Doesn't feel like it's Monday tomorrow. I think it's going to be hard to do a full week at work. But hopefully we'll have another stream in the week so we can show you guys what we've been working on. Right, so we've nearly got this here. Looking pretty good. Apologies, I'm not chatting. It's just the fiddly bit at the end. So Mark, I'm watching NFL and NBA and doing laundry. Excellent. Daniel, it's 1 a.m. so finish at 6 then sleep. First night back has been a killer, I bet. Jay's up for some Total War. Warhammer, excellent. And Andy, I've been rewatching the Marvel films tonight in Avengers Assemble. Excellent. Yeah, I fancy rewatching the Middle Earth films. I've been super tempted to pick up the 4K Blu-ray of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I think that's what I might do today, buy that on Amazon. I know Jay's recently rewatched all the Lord of the Rings films, so I'm kind of in the mood to watch them myself. Outside of that, I've got a Mega Gargant that I built over the last few days. The War Stomper. I've got another. Oops, and a bit's fallen off. It's a bird. Random birds falling off him. So yeah, I've got him to base and spray up. I've also got a gate breaker to build, and then I have done all of the Mega Gargants. Again, ready for when we can play some games. Mega Gargant, I think, was my favourite model of last year, so I'm looking forward to painting up another one of them. Okay, then we just need to do this Eye of Horus. Again, paint just getting a bit thick, so mix in some water. And we'll see how this goes out. So if anyone is late to the stream, this should, in theory, be available on our YouTube channel to watch on demand. I might have to click some buttons and tweak it, but should be up there fairly soon. And this is something we are looking to, like I say, do over the next year. Every week, do a bit of a stream. If any times work better for people, let us know. I know a few people have commented that obviously this 12 o'clock stream time that I've done doesn't really work too well for the guys in America. So I'm thinking we might do a Sunday stream like this over lunchtime for a couple of hours, and then maybe do one on a Wednesday as well. We'll play it by ear, see how we get on. But yeah, I think that is all the gold on Horus done in this 2-hour time slot. So we'll be closing the stream off there, guys, soonish. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed that, and I hope it looks okay for you guys. Any feedback that you've got, just let us know over on Twitter. Anything that you'd advise, recommend changing, anything that you want to see in the future. Yeah, like I say, this is something that we want to do going forward, and definitely want to get Jay and Dave involved as well, so we can have a bit of interaction and some other painting stuff going on. So yeah, massive thanks, guys, for watching the stream for the last couple of hours, and yeah, we will see you all next week, hopefully, same time, same place. Podcast gets recorded on Monday as well, so that should be in your ears on Tuesday. So until next time, thanks a lot for joining us, and speak to you all soon. Bye.